Welcome to Heartland Dual Sport. In today's video we're going to be discussing two ways that you can fly your drone legally here in the USA. I'm so excited and pleased to announce that we are remote pilot certified, and what that means is we can actually go out and fly our drone. We can use the footage on our YouTube channel, and we can also maybe look at doing some commercial assignments down the road. In 2015 we bought our first drone. We used that drone, and everything that we did back then to get our drone registered and make it to where we can fly legally is totally changed from what it is here in 2022. Basically here in 2022 you've got two categories that the FAA sees as being legal to fly or compliant here in the United States. Number one is going to be recreational flyer, and number two is going to be Part 107 certified. Since I started this video out, I told you right off the bat, we're remote pilot certified. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of history about us, where our channel was back in 2015, how we got started with drones, why we got away from the drones, and why we went back to them today. We're also going to give you a brief description about Greg, the Pilot Institute, and what they can do to help you pass your Part 107 exam. So again, thanks for tuning in, and let's get to the video. Again, thanks for tuning in to Heartland Dual Sport. I want to give you a little bit of a history and kind of background about me. My name is Dale. I'll be your host for this video, and if you've been around or watched our channel for a while, you know that back in 2015 we had a unique drone. And when I say unique, it wasn't unique and that's stupid. That's stupid.
It was a drone from the Unique company.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Okay, so anyhow, back in 2015, the laws were not what they are today. And bear with me as I'm kind of giving you a little history lesson that tells you about us and where we're at with our channel, and why these two categories that are now applicable in 2022 are what we're going to be talking about. But back then, the biggest deal is back then you had to register your drone. There was a few little rules, and I think maybe even a small online test that you had to take, and I did all that stuff. Here's where the problem came in. If you guys go back to 2015, the motorcycle that we had at that time was the DRZ400. The DRZ400 has a small footprint as far as packability and trying to go moto camping. The Unique drone that we had it came in a box, and you can just picture a cube that was 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, and that was what the drone came in. Now it wouldn't have mattered if you went with the Unique like we did or the DJI. Even the DJI drone was still big, and they were essentially the same size out of the box. They did good footage, especially for the time back then. But the biggest obstacle and hurdle for me is that was even too much space inside the Jeep that we later purchased, because I didn't have the Jeep at the time. But it was still, did we?
I don't know. But the drone was the size of a small child.
Yeah, I mean, in short, what happened is it just takes up too much space, whether you were in the Jeep or doing a moto camping trip. It just ultimately, we ruled that out as a possibility, and we reinvested with some of the cameras that you're seeing today. I mean, our main camera that Angie's using in the back here is one of the cameras that we were using back then as well. So we didn't lose our investment, but that brings us to where we are today. And thanks for being patient with me while I kind of describe to you where we are in today's world with the drone and why we've added one to our channel. Number one, like I said when we started this video, you've got two categories of drone users here in the USA that are flying legal. The two categories of users that you have is Part 107 and recreational users. Your recreational user is just like it sounds. If you've bought a drone and you want to go out and you want to fly around and take pictures and or film things on a hobby level, you're afforded that ability to do so. There are a couple of requirements, and while we're talking about it right here, I'm going to go ahead, and if you guys notice this t-shirt that I'm wearing, it's called Pilot Institute. I'm going to have a link down below. I'm not an affiliate. I was actually accepted as an affiliate, but I've messed up the login somehow. But it doesn't matter, because I'd made up my mind before I even applied to become affiliate. I was going to tell you guys about this school, and that's part of the reason that we're doing this video today. Is number one, they do have the recreational pilot lessons on there that you can go through and take your trust exam to where you can legally be to where you can legally be flying here in the USA as a recreational pilot. Not only have I taken their course, Angie has as well. I mean, it's a great course and he does a great job. Right here I'm going to kind of pause for a second. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Greg. Greg is a commercial airline pilot. He's got his pilot license. He's also a pilot instructor for guys who want to go out and learn how to fly a real airplane. The one thing, and the reason I'm telling you this about Greg is because the one thing that I always loved the most when I was in college, if I was taking a class, and especially if it was something gearing more towards what in my mind I wanted to do ultimately, I always gave the instructors a lot more respect who had been in the field, had them t-shirts. In fact, their t-shirts were so old they had holes in them because they've been there and they've done that. And that's kind of the way Greg teaches his classes. Greg's been there, he's done that, he's been flying 107 compliant, I'm sure since the start of the 107 test. I can't say for how long, but he has been a commercial airline pilot for over 15 years, 15 to 20 years, somewhere in there. Again, you can look on his website and he can tell you more about it than I can. I'm just telling you, the guy's a great instructor. He can get you through and walk you through the process. Number one, as a recreational pilot, it doesn't cost you anything. The only thing that you're going to pay at all is when you get ready to register your drone. It costs you $5. As a recreational pilot, you can have as many drones as you want, and that will still fall under that same $5 category. So it's something that's real easy, relatively simple. An hour, maybe 2 hours max, you can be through the entire course, pass the test, go over to the FAA website and log in and get your drone registered. And like I say, for $5 you can be flying legally, and that's actually really cheap and cool. So bringing us up where we're at today, again, a lot of this has to do with technology. The drone that we have purchased, and we'll do another video next week, next show and tell Monday, on the drone that we purchased, but it's actually so small you can fold it up, carry it in your backpack. I've taken this drone with me when we went to the East Coast. I've taken it with me when I rode up to Michigan. It's a great drone. I'm going to go a step further and tell you, I didn't use the drone in the East Coast and I didn't use it in Michigan because all I had at the time was my recreational user pilot certificate, if you will, if that's even what they call it. And I don't want to get in trouble, because here's one of the things that can happen as a YouTube person. Number one, it doesn't matter if you're getting paid or not. Under the recreational user, they're going to look at the intent. So hypothetically, say you're out as a recreational user and say you're flying around at Caddo Lake over here in East Texas, and all of a sudden there's a volcano and it just explodes and erupts, and you capture all that footage while you was flying around filming trees. If that happens and the news reporter comes to you and says, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000 for that footage because we want that volcanic activity for our news station, you can take the money. You're still qualified as a recreational flyer, and you're not going to get any flack from the FAA. The problem is they're going to look at that. You're setting a pattern. If that happens 3, 4, 5 times in a row, they're going to say, no, we think you're out here in these geographical areas where you keep happening upon all these volcanoes, and you happen to have a direct phone line to the news station who's going to pay you for them. And they're going to basically say your intent of the flight. Okay, now that's really far-fetched. Odds of that happening are really slim. But what I'm getting at is there's a really fine line between being a hobbyist and taking the test and being a commercial pilot. And that's where we're at today. And essentially what happened, you guys haven't seen it yet, so here's a teaser for some videos that you're going to see next month. When I was out in Louisiana riding my CFR450rl, I dumped, fell off, and I injured my leg pretty good. Actually, I'm going to say I injured my ankle, my lower leg and ankle. And I knew that I was going to be off my feet for at least 3 to 4 weeks. So what do? When you get a lemon, you make lemonade. I've been putting this off for a while, so I decided to go ahead. Let's use this downtime that I can't be out riding, and I'm just going to, spoiler alert, we're probably not going to make it to another beach with our KLR before the end of the year, because hunting season's coming up and it's going to be tough to pull off in December. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I got injured. I knew I was going to be down for a while. We made some lemonade. We studied for the test. I enrolled in Greg's Pilot Institute Part 107 Made Easy class. This class is roughly $175. It's going to walk you through everything. And the reason that the reason I'm so excited to share this stuff with you is you're going to learn so much more than what you're going to learn by just becoming a recreational pilot. Recreational pilot is going to give you bare minimum information, and you're probably going to feel like I did when I rode to the East Coast and or up to Michigan. I didn't feel confident in looking at the maps, trying to figure out what airspace I was in, that type of stuff. Number one, I don't want to get in trouble, guys. Number two, you know we're trying to do this YouTube channel as a full-time deal. I don't have a bunch of extra money to pay for fines, and I sure don't want to be that guy, if you know what I'm talking about. You'll see it in the news. The guy that was recently flying in one of the baseball games, he flew his drone in. You don't want to be that guy. I can tell you without even reading the rules, once you take the little trust exam, you're going to know you can't fly over people. So I mean, that was just obviously way beyond making a mistake. I don't think the FFA is out. the FFA. I don't think the FFA guys that are showing their hogs are out to get you. Nor do I think the FAA is out to get you. I think the way the society as a whole is turning, just like officers out in the field, they want to try to help educate you not to make mistakes. Now, obviously, if you're stealing, that's a different deal. But the FAA, they're looking at this and they're taking this approach. They're trying to educate people instead of just hammering down on people. One of the huge advantages of taking this Part 107 Made Easy is by the time you get done taking the test, you're going to know so much more. You're going to know what you can do legally. You're going to know what you can't do. You're also going to know whether you can fly in places that you thought you couldn't. You're going to find out there's places that you can't fly. There's a lot more information. As a recreational user, you're going to probably depend on your little map that pops up on your DJI remote, and it's going to tell you if it's safe to fly or not. The problem with that is you don't know if there's temporary flight restrictions, because DJI can't update that map every time there's a temporary flight restriction put in place. So again, that's one of the things that you're going to learn is you're going to learn how to pull up and find out if there's temporary flight restrictions. You're going to be able to look at different maps, and he's going to teach you a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I will go on to say this. Greg is the type of guy who's going to teach you how to do these things and figure it out on your own. He's not the guy that's going to give you the answers to the test and you basically memorize them and figure out how to pass the test. What he's going to do is he's going to go into an in-depth discussion and basically teach you everything you need to know from the first chapter all the way down to actually going and taking your test. He's going to show you how to get enrolled at a school to where you can go take the test, and he's going to walk you through the entire process. Now again, like I said, he's not giving you the answers to the test. He's telling you how to find the answers that are going to be on the test. And that was one of the greatest things, because once you leave and you've got your Part 107 certificate, and it's up to you to know whether or not you're in the right or wrong. And that's where this class, in my mind, really excels. I know there's other schools out there, and I'm not going to knock any of them because I haven't been to any of them. I just can't brag on Greg enough. Again, this is going to be a relatively short video. It's basically just a show and tell Monday, and we want to, number one, we're excited. We just passed our Part 107 test, so we're remote pilot certified. We've got our certification for the remote pilot. And we're excited about that, and we want to share it to you and tell you how we did it. If you like this video, give us a big thumbs up. We appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If there's something that I missed, and I promise you guys, there's going to be some things I missed. There's so much to getting your Part 107 license or certification or becoming a remote pilot that you can't cover it all in just a 5-minute video. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to give you the resources to where we went and studied to pass the test. The one thing I really enjoy about Greg is he's going to give you $175. It's a money-back guarantee. If you fail the test after completing his course, he'll give you $175 back. That's going to cover the cost of the test. So, again, guys, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you're interested in becoming a remote pilot, use the link down below. Like I said, I couldn't figure out the affiliate program. Maybe in the notes just put you heard from them from Heartland Dual Sport. Again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. May you have a blessed week, and let's go ride. In 2015, we bought our